What's up, everybody? We are back with another episode of Show Me What I've Been Missing. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Mack, and I'm here with
Elizabeth Stanton, your other host.
Yes. And today we are talking Sex in the City, Season 2, Episode 15, Shortcomings. Now, this name was a little bit savage as far as the name of the episode because of one of the situations that we're going to get into later. I just wanted to point out how savage that name was.
I thought
they didn't have to do that.
I thought this was a different episode because this is not a spoiler by any means, but there is a later episode apparently where Samantha dates a much, much shorter guy. Like he's maybe like 5'4", like he's maybe like 5'4" or 3. He's much shorter than her anyway. And like they get into it and he's like a powerful banker and stuff, so he's like her type of guy. He just happens to be short. So I was like mentally prepared. I was like, oh, this is that episode. And then we watched it. I was like, oh shit, this is not that episode. I gotta like junk all that material and save it for a different episode. Whoopsies.
That's right. That's what we're playing ahead. That's how good we are at this podcast. We playing ahead.
We're playing ahead. It's all filed away.
So I feel like I want to talk about Miranda's story just because I have so many opinions on what happened during this episode.
Yes.
First of all, got everything she deserved.
As always.
As always. Anytime anything bad happens to her, she deserves it because, what she did to my man Skip.
You know who's not a used man? Skipper.
Exactly. You had a chance not to have a used man, which
is so awful.
Oh, that's an awful term. Also, too, another term that was said was shopping from the bargain bin.
Yeah,
Carrie said that shortly after the punching. That was like, wow, that is so disgusting, low key. Like that was pretty bad. Like bargain bin. That's what we call it. Bin with children,
or just even divorced men.
Yeah, whoa, like that's
usually the joke is like, well, at least they can commit, like because they'll get married,
right?
But like, this is weird because it's so weird and derogatory because I feel like it's usually an accusation like lobbed against women that if they've been divorced or they're a single mom.
Like it's not even a man thing for me. Like
just
somebody bargain bin or like used because they had a child like before you met them.
Yeah,
like, that's just okay. Like that's just me.
Just
like I get maybe you don't want kids, but like then just don't date people with kids. That's all.
Yeah, that's all you gotta do. Like I sometimes on apps I'll be swiping around and I'll be like I'm not ready for that yet, or I don't like. Or don't want to take on like step parenting duties. So I'm like, pass for now. In the future, who knows? It's not like a total rule out thing, but it's also, especially if they're more upfront about it. Some people got to label their photos better because I'm like, is that your child or a nephew? What's happening here?
Yeah. So let's get into Miranda's story. First of all, like I said, everything that happened to her this episode, she deserves.
Yep.
So she starts out at the gym during family hour, which I guess is when like people bring their kids to be like babysat while they work out.
Which is the way it's presented here is strange because maybe it's a more modern invention, but my understanding, actually, even at this time, is maybe not most gyms. I feel like a lot of gyms have like a playroom, or maybe it's just the YMCAs that I'm more familiar with. Like, they have like childcare drop off where like if you have a kid between certain ages, you want to go work out, there's like a childcare facility that you can leave them there for like an hour or whatever.
I was gonna say this.
They're not allowed to run around the way they're showing in the episode.
Of course not. Yeah, of course not.
Which is
that was obviously played up for.
This is all played up for the show, yeah.
But I think usually, like you said, YMCAs and then like higher echelon gyms, like Equinox, I think has that as the program that like people who come
even like 24-hour fitness. I've seen
some of them, not all of them.
Yeah.
Some of them. It depends on which kind you go into. If it's like the basic, just gym and thing package, no. But like if you're going to like one of the luxury type gyms, like then yes. Like I think there's one in Hollywood,
Mm-hmm.
not by the ArcLight, but the one that's actually on the boulevard, like in the where the main tourists are, on the boardwalk
Mm-hmm.
and shit like that. Like that one is, I think, more luxury, and that might provide like child care services,
Yeah.
you're there. But usually I've noticed it's either YMCA
Mm-hmm.
or like big luxury gyms like an Equinox or something of that level. Usually they're offering something like that. But yeah, again, kids aren't allowed to run around because that's not what you're paying for. You're not paying to be around children when you're trying to work out.
Right. It's also just dangerous for literally everybody involved.
Oh, yeah. Because that kid, okay, so like the way we even meet this kid is Miranda's doing fucking chest press with a barbell in her hand, and he comes up and tickles her while she's doing the rep. Fuck that. I'd have thrown the weight right at the kid. Fuck that kid. You want to play? I don't care how much weight it is. You want to play? Let's play.
I'll bench press you, you little shit. Get over here.
Yeah. Right. Because here's the thing, too. It's like people might be mad, but it's like, no, so the kid can tickle me and then I can drop the weight on my motherfucking chest or neck and or face. But like, no, fuck that. I'd have thrown that shit at the kid. And if anybody had something to say, I'd be like, what? Control your child. Also, too, here's the thing. Here's my thing. Okay, now as far as like dating somebody with a kid, I'm totally okay with that. But to me, a red flag is if your kid is bad. This little motherfucker was a badass kid.
A little shit.
Me, that says more about you than the kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know kids can be kids, but kids are also like, like dogs or any other thing that you have to discipline. If you don't discipline them, then they run all over the place, tickling strangers and pressing a million buttons on fucking
oh my god, that elevator.
Or smacking your date in the head with a stick.
Yeah, that was fucked up. I was like, get that kid to fucking child therapy. Like, this is not going well. Because you know what?
He didn't even apologize. He was like, say sorry. He was like, no. And then ran off. I was like, okay. I mean, and now I understand that, obviously the kid's going through some things, but I still blame the father because it sounds like he allowed the kid to like, because him and his wife are going through a divorce and he doesn't want the kid like to, be affected by it. He's like allowing him to like act out. But it's like, dude, no, like be a fucking father. Sit your kid down and try to explain to it the best way you can. And then as they get older, they will understand. But like letting your kid just do whatever and like taking him to a toy store after he acts up an ass in the elevator, like that's not how you parent.
And also, a lot of people, I think the common wisdom is you don't introduce the kid to the like your new partner.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's because he was there in the moment.
Right. But like I was watching them have the date in the Central Park and I was like, oh, this is going well. And I was like, holy shit, he brought the kid on the date? That's weird.
First date. Yeah, you don't bring a kid on the first date. I mean, it worked for him. He got some ass, but
but at what cost? Because that kid's going to be like a fucking psycho in his like teen years and he's going to have to deal with that. The other thing I thought was weird is like, we don't really hear why he and the wife are divorcing. I mean, things happen, but I find it interesting that he seems to have primary custody because that kid is always around.
Yeah, and that's I was going to say like that's probably the only redeeming quality of him is like that it seemed like he had custody because it takes like the wife or the mother has to be pretty drastic on the other side for the courts to be like, you sir.
Unless because I was saying courts do not generally favor male parents.
No.
For better or worse, there's a lot of debate about that. But
what's the percentage? Let's Google.
That's a good question.
Men that get custody.
While you're Googling, I just want to point out, so not only are they in the elevator pushing a million buttons, I would be fucking furious if like I was waiting forever for an elevator because they were flirting and pushing buttons and riding the elevator up and down. Like, get off the fucking elevator. Other people need to use this, you stupid bastards.
Okay, so I look it up. The percentage of custodial fathers who were divorced is 39.1%.
Yeah. So
that's really low.
That's low. That's not the majority at all.
Yeah. It's
basically 60% of women when they are divorced have primary custody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's pretty bad. Like most of it comes from being widowed. Like that's where most of that
Oh
percentage comes
no.
from. Men who have been widowed.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So basically, the woman has to die for the man to get the fucking custody, which also means like if that's the extreme, essentially, she must be a fucking handful.
Yeah.
And he got the custody. I don't know. I'm kind of glad to introduce her because she might have just been a tornado of a
she could have been also equally psycho to Miranda.
Right.
But maybe that's where the kid got all the psycho tendencies. I have no idea.
That also would explain the behavior of the child because he was out there. Also, too, like, dude, you don't teach this kid like boundaries, like because
he's barged into that bathroom.
Yeah, she's in the bathroom peeing butt naked, which mistake on her part. Why would you walk around the house naked knowing there's a kid around? Like, that's on you. But however, her privacy is her privacy. The kid didn't even knock; he just opened the door, was like, I'm going on in.
Yeah.
Gonna see boobage.
And then she accidentally like slams the door back in his face, apparently so hard that he's like cut badly and like might need stitches or something. I think that kid planned that shit. He's like, get rid of her. I know exactly what to do. This door is a menace, and I'm gonna barge in, let her whack me with that, whack my little head into the door while she's closing it. Bada bing, bada boom. No more lady.
I mean, it's
another toy store trip for little Sammy over here.
He does seem like a very much like a Kevin McAllister type kid. Like he
Demon
like
seed.
He definitely playing. You know, I feel like he would definitely play shit. But also, I kind of found it funny just because like he hit her with a stick earlier and she hit him with a door. So they both hit people with wood. Yeah. They like to hit each other with wood. It's maybe they're the same person. Who knows? Yeah, so I'm guessing we're not going to see that dad again.
Nope. As with many characters, never to be seen again.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like even though, I don't see Miranda. I don't even know if she even wants children to be. I mean, she says she does, but I don't even know if she truly does.
Yeah,
I honestly don't think she likes it. I think she likes the idea of having children, but like not the actual doing of the having of the children. You know what I mean? Like more than likely, I feel like Miranda so far, what she showed her character wise, like I feel like if anybody's going to date a single dad, it would be her because like I don't think she actually wants the idea of like giving birth and being pregnant and all that. And Charlotte's the one that's like obsessed with that. See, I think I think she's the opposite as well. I think she likes the idea of like carrying life inside her, but like doesn't want to really be a mom. She just wants to be like, hey, look, I had a kid.
She only likes the baby phase. Once they're like mobile and have a personality,
after
it's
the
game
kid turns
over.
like 3 or 4, she's gonna be like, all right, Dad, you got this. I'm gonna go do waspy Jewish things. Like waspy big fucking waspy Jewish.
Those are two separate things. Waspy and Jewish are two separate things.
I don't know. It can be.
I have to hold my tongue because some of what you're saying is so interesting to where things will develop, but I can't say anything else. I don't want to spoil it.
Okay, fair enough. Okay.
Mark this episode as one to come back to.
So now my question is, now that we're talking about it, have you ever dated somebody with a child?
No. Not on purpose, just hasn't come up.
Okay. Now, is that something that like you kind of want to stay away from, or is it like whatever, like if it happens?
For a long time, yes, but as I'm getting older, I'm less like hung up about it because I think weirdly it was like of the Bachelorette or something. Like the only good one in recent years, Rachel Lindsay. I think did she pick a guy with a kid? Because sometimes they have guys with kids on Bachelorette and vice versa, but it's more of they make it a bigger deal if like the guy has a kid and he's on the Bachelorette. But I think she said something along the lines of like, as I am getting older and looking for partners, I just kind of have to accept that there may be a chance that they have a kid, from a previous relationship, and there's, nothing wrong with that, or like it's not the deterrent it maybe once was. Like, if I was 25, no, I don't want to date a dude with a kid.
Right.
Especially not one my age. If I was dating an older dude with a kid, then that's a whole other like baggage thing of like, how much older is he than me? How much older am I than the kid? You know, like that's a whole thing. But yeah, now I wouldn't be 100% like opposed to it. But I still mostly swipe left on it on a dating app. I won't lie.
I mean, listen, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Would you date someone with a kid, or have you?
I have twice. One situation was pretty awesome, mostly because like she was a good mom and like the kid was highly disciplined and like very mature for his age. Like, I mean, of course he acted up from time to time. He was 3 at the time.
Yeah.
Kids can do that. But for the most part, he was very well behaved. So like, you know, whenever we would hang out and he had to be there, like it never felt weird. I never felt like any pressure. Me and the kid got along. We played together. You know, like I said, he was very respectful and very disciplined, so it was cool. Now, the other opposite side, I dated a girl whose kid was not at all disciplined. And again, that's not a reflection of the kid. I don't blame the kid. I blame the parents. You know what I mean? Because like clearly you're not doing something. You're not teaching them something, because kids only learn what they've been taught.
Right.
They're just sponges. Yeah. So like, if you don't teach them any kind of discipline or like good behavior, then they're not gonna exude any. So that's kind of my whole thing. Like, I'd probably do it again. Maybe, depends on the person or whatever. But like, I'm kind of like you. Like, more than likely, I probably won't. But I'm not saying that it's not in the wheelhouse.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Just as like the older you get, the probability of, you know, the type of life someone has led before you met them, the probability of them having
it's getting bigger. Yeah, I mean, I'm mid-30s. You know, as you get older, you're not gonna find. I mean, here's the thing though. I will say this: with us, it's a little bit more likely because like our generation has decided we're not just gonna have kids for the sake of having kids. Like, we're gonna build a life and a career and have money and set them up for greatness before we bring children into the world. So it's less than it was like when our parents were adults, you know what I'm saying, at that age. But I still think it's, you know, as we get older, that the factor does, you know, kind of bring it a little higher, because like, most people, but you know, their mid-30s and up have had at least one kid, most. But I still feel like, I don't know, like I said, we're in that generation where it's like kind of 50-50. They may or may not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, cool.
I was gonna say, speaking of characters we'll never see again, we meet Charlotte's brother.
Yes.
Again,
by the way, wait, before we go into that, I just want to say this episode is called Shortcomings. I don't think having a kid is a shortcoming.
No, that's fucked up that they apply that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this episode is kind of savage because, like, you know, the shortcoming in Miranda's story was like her dating somebody with a kid. It's like, that's a little bit fucked up. However, we go into Charlotte's story. First of all, every time she opens her mouth to give dating advice, I'm sick of her. Like, you are literally the last person at any table that should be giving anybody dating advice, especially to other women. Like, you give the worst advice to any of the friends. And if you are, even when she's not giving advice, she's like throwing like little jabs at everybody. You know what I mean? Like, little, like, and not jabs of like just straight up savage, but just like little judgmental jabs. Like, you shouldn't be there. You shouldn't, you know what I mean? So the fact that she was like trying to give Samantha and Carrie and everybody advice, it's just, it blows my mind, especially too because of what happens later. Which is, it lets me know, like, also she's full of shit, right? Because she was all worried about like them judging her brother, you know what I'm saying? Because they're like making fun of, you know, his name and his ex-wife's name because it rhymes.
Wesley and Leslie.
Wesley and Leslie.
Which is funny, but I mean,
I don't think that's what the problem was. I think she knew that like if she introduced him to Samantha, she was gonna get that dick. Yeah, that's exactly what she did. She got it introduced, and then she got the dick.
And I love that scene where like she's only going to introduce him to Carrie for some reason, but Samantha comes along and she's like, what is Samantha doing here? And I do like Carrie's delivery of like, oh, that's our friend Samantha. You remember her, right? Like, don't be such a shit friend, Charlotte. Like, and her brother's all hot for Samantha though, because Samantha showed up looking gorgeous. I have to say,
good. She looked
like
good.
hair done, makeup was fucking flawless. It's like hot blue dress. I was like, holy shit! Like I made the notes. I was like, wow, she showed up looking really fucking hot. Like,
no, she definitely looked good. Yeah, she definitely looked good. Yeah. It was almost impossible for her brother not to fall for her. Physically. I was like, dude, any straight man would have been like,
like cartoon wolf noises. Like
and she was giving him like flirty eyes as soon as she walked up. Like, it's like, when her and Carrie walked up, she had her eye like right on him, like never broke eye contact. So when he introduced himself, she was already locked in. It was like he didn't have a chance. Even if he didn't want to sleep with her, I think he just would have gotten to. He just would have had to. He just would have to take one for the team. Like Samantha was not going out without him.
And like the thing is, Charlotte's so hung up on him getting back with his wife and it just being a separation. And he keeps telling her to her face, he's like, it's fucking over between me and my wife. Stop talking about it like this. You're fucking insane. And so then when he wants to, like, he's like, I don't want your fucking muffins. I want to drink. Why the fuck are we doing this? But she's like, no.
Nana always did this. Fuck
Nana made you
not going through a divorce.
Yeah, Nana's not dealing with the lawyers and shit, and he just wants to have a good time, and like his sister keeps like trying to mess with that, and then he goes ahead and hooks up with Samantha and is all the happier for it.
To go back to, which further lets me know how like bad for these women Charlotte is, like her level of toxicity of like her delusion, because like the dude has like the whole episode, she's like you said, like trying to get him to like go back and try to work things out, and he's laying out why it didn't work, which are very important reasons, which are very big reasons why any relationship would go south, and she's just like, no, you didn't try enough. It's like, no, bro, she didn't have sex with me for 2 years. You know how
my wife's a frigid bitch, and I don't want to be with her, and she hates me too.
After he was like 2 years we didn't have sex, she was like, okay, never mind. Oh yeah, I guess it was over. Yeah, no shit, bitch. I told you that like 3 fucking times.
I've tell you that since I fucking got here.
Yeah.
But you're like, eat the muffins.
Eat the muffins and go back home and try to figure it out. No, woman, this ain't no love story. This ain't no Cinderella shit. Sometimes relationships end. That's it. Like, of her of all people should know that. Like, how many fucking weirdo guys has she dated back? Right. Like, like sometimes shit just don't work out. Yeah, that's what I would have been like. Like, I mean, I'm sure he doesn't know that knowledge, but like, if she was doing that, I'm like, well, why don't you get back with like your most recent ex?
Well, he calls her out. He's like, "What's the last long-term relationship you've had?"
True. I love that too.
Yeah.
She was. The lips were sealed.
And then she was like, "Ooh, yeah, I guess that."
She's like, "Yeah, I guess you kind of got a point in that whole thing."
Yeah. And then she's so mean to Samantha when she wakes up to find Samantha in her apartment.
Okay. Now, before we get into this, but before we get into the episode, like what happened in the episode, I gotta ask you a question, because like, as much as Charlotte is wrong, what she said was wrong, but like how she felt about it, low key, I kind of get. Mm-hmm. Because like,
her surprise, maybe a little anger and frustration, because that's sort of like it's an awkward like blending of like family, like people you love, and like a family and so like a friend, because if it goes badly, then you're caught in the middle of that. It's not her.
And more than likely, this dude would probably like, if they'd have kept messing around, like he probably would have fell for Samantha.
Yeah.
Like, I just wanted to be. This is weird. And then like Charlotte would have to deal with that. You know what I mean? Because Samantha's not gonna deal with it. She's gonna be like, that's your brother. You figured it out. Tell him how. Like she probably wouldn't even like break it off with him properly. She probably just like, tell your brother.
Probably ghost him. Yeah. Yeah, and then Charlotte is either got to stop being friends with, at the very least, Samantha, potentially Carrie and Miranda as well, depending on how much they hang out, and then it's a big awkward thing. That I totally get. She's not wrong for being worried about that or being frustrated by that, but what basically calling your friend a whore is bad. Saying, is your vagina in the New York guidebook because it's open 24/7 is a horrible thing to say to somebody.
Yeah. Especially somebody like Samantha, who is like never made you feel any kind of way about like exploring your sexuality.
Yeah. She's nothing but encouraging to Charlotte.
She's always gassing them up. She's always making sure they got their back. Even in this episode, she was like, look, you can't fuck your boy because he busted up too quickly, but like, is there somebody, you know what I mean? Like, she's always figuring out like a way to like have their back and shit like that. For Charlotte to say something like that to Samantha, of all the girls, like, that's just cold blooded.
This is why Samantha's not in the reboot, because she's like, peace out. Honestly, so I read some great comment that was like,
find better friends, low key, because Carrie, Miranda, and Charlotte are kind of trash. I ain't gonna lie.
Somebody said like, we see these episodes. They're like, this is not Samantha's actual core friend group. She has an actual another friend group we just never see.
I hope so. I feel like that's the only way she can put up with these bitches.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean, low key. Although I will say this though, not to go jump ahead, but I will say this: I like Carrie a little bit more without Big. She seems like she got more of her shit in order when he's not around. So clearly, it was him that like had her acting a fool. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And we'll get to that later, and I'll tell you why I feel that way. But Charlotte saying that to Samantha was low key just like savage, but like I get it, because like as a person with siblings, I probably wouldn't want them hooking up with my friend. You know what I mean? Like, I have brothers and sisters, so like it would be awkward in totally different ways for whomever it may be. But like, at least run it by me. Like Samantha, that's where Samantha
true
was a little bit out of bounds. Like, yes, there are two consenting adults, but like, you should have at least ran it by. You know,
just been like, hey, I really like your brother. Would you be mad if we kind of, something?
I mean, and to go back to that, Samantha was actually a better sister to him than her actual sister, because he needed sex. He hadn't had sex for 2 years in a marriage. He needed sex, not no motherfucking muffins. She gave him sex, and you saw the happiness that was on his face. Like, he looked like a totally different person.
Yeah, he was like, and it's a good day. Like walking down this,
birds singing. They were dressed. The birds were dressing him like he woke up like Snow White in that bitch. So clearly, Samantha knows something that Charlotte doesn't. So maybe
I would hope so though, because that is definitely, you don't want your sibling to be like, hey, I know what you need. You need to get laid. That'd be, especially boy-girl sibling. That's fucking weird. Right. That's like some flowers in the attic shit. You don't want that. But
sure. But at the very least.
But Samantha was listening to him about what he wanted and needed.
That's the difference. She listened to him and knew that like he didn't need fucking muffins or like a hug. He needed sex. He needed to bust a nut. And she was like, I got you. Like, it benefits both of us. I get the bust a nut. You get the bust a nut. We all go home happy.
And because like, you also sometimes need like a third party. And if I were the brother, I'd feel a little too annoyed. Like, I'm telling you, this woman is treating me badly or like not well, and you are like, go back to her. That's not great support. Like, you're basically telling me to go back to my like, not abuser, that's dramatic, but like shitty person.
Abuser it might be the case from how he kind of laid it out.
I don't think
she wasn't like beating the shit out of him, but like mental abuse and emotional abuse, that's a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not saying that she was the only one wrong in the situation. We only got to hear one side of the
story. Only hearing Wesley's side of things.
But here's the thing. Even with that one side, there's at least enough information that was given to let us know they shouldn't be together. So Charlotte shouldn't be trying to push them back together because she's some hopeless fucking psychotic romantic. Relax.
But then Charlotte does apologize to Samantha with a basket of muffins.
I ain't gonna lie, food does help.
Food solves a lot of things. But Samantha does have the best joke where, Charlotte comes and says, I'm sorry. And she's like, well, are you done? Because I got another tour group coming through in 10 minutes. I was like, fuck yeah, roast her ass, drag her through the streets.
I was hoping I had my fingers crossed because like when Charlotte came in, right before she came in, because I was hoping that like right after she gave her the basket, her brother would walk up and be like, yo, what's up, Samantha? I'd have been like, oh, the writers are geniuses. This is the perfect time for him to walk up. Because then that would really test to see if her apology was sincere. Exactly. I'm not 100%. You know what I'm saying? I feel like she's only feels bad because like it was bad. You know what I mean? I don't know if she truly feels their apology.
Right. We'll never know because we never, ever see Wesley again. Right, yeah. And not a huge spoiler alert, Charlotte does get married. We do not see Wesley during the wedding. I'm sure he's there. He's just not like ever mentioned. But that's that's such a common TV thing in a lot of shows or sitcoms where like I keep seeing it pop up on the list. Like a more recent one is like New Girl with Zooey Deschanel, or Linda Cardellini comes and plays her sister for a couple episodes. And then by the end of the series, she gets married and like her parents were Jamie Lee Curtis and Rob Reiner. They're not there. Linda Cardellini, like none of these like people who played her family were there during the wedding, and it's so weird. But speaking of family, Carrie basically falls for this family and not the guy.
Okay.
Oh, so and
go ahead. No, keep going. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and the guy is played by Justin Theroux in his second role in the show. He was a shitty 20-something in
with the
previous episode. Shoot, I actually don't have it in front of me which one it is, but it wasn't the Valley of the 20-something guys one. He was like
it was like a couple after, right?
Couple after that.
They were at a that she was kind of using to make Big jealous, right?
Yeah, like
she never really did anything, but she was just like, I'm here flirting with this guy,
right?
In a way that's like kind of making me jealous.
And because Big shows up way late, it's like a club opening outside, and he's like, that's where he shows up at like 3 a.m.
Right.
And it was like, I was at a different door, and I was like, what is it with you? These fucking doors, figure it out.
That's him just being a shit.
So as I put it, she's dating Justin Theroux 2.0. He's a writer. Right. And he's got like a super cool New York family. Like the mom's a documentarian, the dad's like a professor. The sisters are like cool. One's a lesbian, like ooh la la, so chic. At this era, it's a big deal. It's not anymore, but they were like, wow.
Yeah, for sure. That was like
such a big deal.
And the fact that the parents were like hella cool about it was like a thing of this at this time.
Because they're like one of those like really open, like cool families. But
I kind of have a problem with sometimes. Like you can be a little too close and a little too open. Like there has to be something that separates child and parent. You know what I mean?
And he even like is annoyed by that. Like Carrie loves how open and like friendly they are, but like to her, that's just all a friend group of different ages.
Right.
Like to him, he's like, two of these people are my parents, technically. And I love that he points out she's like wants to talk about his premature ejaculation problem. And he's like, I've been talking about sex shit since I was a fucking kid. I don't want to get into this. It's uncomfortable at this point. Like,
Okay, now let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for me, the fact that let's just go to not the beginning, but like I guess
we kind of jumped ahead of it.
No, so just the fact that this, to me, it was like kind of a red flag in a sense. It was like, why would you bring your girl that you're like just starting a date to your parents' house anyway? Like I wouldn't even like have somebody like they just started dating like it was like a couple of weeks maybe.
Yeah, it hadn't been, and she even says like and I felt for her in that moment where it's like I'm not dressed to meet parents because like if you meet parents you want to like look nicer, and he's like, oh, this won't take long, but he should know better because like they're one of those like whirlwind dominating families too, where they're like, oh, come in, and like you can't, like once you're in, you can't fucking leave.
Right.
Like I love my aunt, I love my aunt, but it's kind of like that sometimes.
No, I know, I totally get that.
And you're like pulled into the vortex of people.
Yeah.
And
Like, just be like, hey, I'm gonna drop this gift off real quick. Wait outside. I'll be back. Like, I know she might have felt some type of way, but I'd have been like, look, we just started dating. I'm not trying to introduce you to my family yet.
Yeah.
Don't get their hopes up about some shit that may or may not work. So just if you don't mind waiting out here, or meet after. Don't bring the girl that you just started dating to your parents' house, because most women, out of just like being polite, are gonna want to ask to come in and meet your family. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's already an awkward situation. Like, they don't want to sit outside. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
So they're gonna be
inside. They dropped by at like what is clearly brunch, like a big family brunch thing.
Right. Yeah. Clearly they do this every week.
Yeah, clearly it's a weekly thing. Like, like, you know, that's like a vortex that you're gonna get pulled into. Why would you be like, this is the best time to drop off the thing? Run your errand a different time.
Yeah,
guy. Like, come on.
Yeah, not when you're out with the girl you just started dating. Like, maybe drop that gift off later, or like I said, drop the gift off and then meet her after. Because like now she kind of has to meet your folks. Yeah, and then you're pissed off when she comes in that they like love her. It's like, well, what you think was gonna happen? You know your parents. You've known them your entire life. Yeah, you know how they are. So how you gonna act like? How you gonna be pissed off when your parents act like your parents? Like, that's you knew this.
You know they're forward and a little too open, and you know this, that, and the other thing. I need to point out that the parents are played by a couple famous faces.
Yes.
So the mom is played by Valerie Harper, who famously was Rhoda on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, the best friend, but then she got her own spinoff, also titled Rhoda. And she then also had a sitcom of her own in the 80s, but was like notoriously kicked off her own show over like contract dispute things, and they tried to paint her in a bad light, but it really wasn't. That wasn't really the situation. But she's, you know, very famous, like 70s icon. Like, it's like Carrie would have watched Mary Tyler Moore, you know, as a kid, kind of thing. So it's funny that she's the mom, and she did pass away in 2019. And then the dad was played by David McCallum, who most people now probably know from NCIS. He's one of the like autopsy guys, doctors. His name's like Dr. Mallard, but I remember they call him Ducky because I've seen a few episodes.
Okay.
And he's also on the show The Man from U.N.C.L.E., where he was a Russian like spy, and I was very famous for that at the time. And that's when I learned my mom had a crush on him, so that's fun.
All right.
She's like, he's kind of blonde and Russian. It's kind of cute. Because we caught like an episode of NCIS, and she was like, is that the guy from my Man from U.N.C.L.E.? I was like, So I just wanted to point out that he has his famous parents within the show.
I don't see it. I don't see the appeal. Like, even in the show, like him being there, he's kind of creepy looking. I'm not gonna lie. He looks like the guy who definitely like snatches women up at night. No, he was sweet, but like, the look of him, he just has a serial killer face.
he was dorky looking to me in this. So I didn't.
That's serial killer face.
I know.
Most of them line them up. Most of them have like dorky, unassuming, like, oh, this guy wouldn't hurt a fly looking faces, and then like you look at their portfolio and you're like, holy shit, this guy's the most violent. He's super violent.
So I just but famous parents, and worth pointing out.
Yes.
For funsies.
So
yeah.
Let me ask you this: have you ever dated somebody that you fell in love with their parents and not them?
No. I've haven't dated a lot, so I've only really met like maybe one or two sets of parents in my time. I surprised my boyfriend in college at the time, because this is a good thing. So I had dinner at his house with his parents and got along great with his mom. I'm great with adults and parents.
I crush it.
I fucking crush it. I am like, did you ever watch Crazy Ex-Girlfriend?
Yes.
I give good parent. That's like the song. I give great parent.
Me too. Like, I don't know if I've ever fallen in love with somebody's like parents before. Maybe before, but I try not to, because 9 times out of 10 parents, even if they love you, like, you know, once the breakup is done,
you're kind of dead to them
anymore. Which I thought was kind of surprising, because after Carrie breaks up with Justin, the mom's like very sad, distraught. She's like, "Oh, we can still be friends," but it's like you're not gonna be friends.
No.
It's like that. You can't, as a parent, like you can't do it. But I know, like I'm with you though. I do give the parent because like most of the women that I've ever dated, that like I got to the point where I met the parents. After we broke up for at least 6 months, the moms and dads are asking, "So you and Chris, you done that? No. Gonna work out? How's he doing? Like, have y'all spoken?" Like I know at least 5 of my ex-girlfriends probably still get that question for the day. And I know this because my ex-fiance, when I was like 20, my mom loved her so much. To this day, she still asks, "Oh, have you talked to Sarah? Like ever?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "No, mother. We broke up a decade ago. We have not spoken. We broke up in 2007. We do not speak." I don't have her number. I don't know anything about her. The last time I knew that anything about her was like the guy that she got with after me, and they had a kid. That's the last time, and that was like when I was still in love, like stalking her page on MySpace. MySpace. That's how long this relationship was. MySpace was still a thing. Therefore, mother, we don't talk anymore. And I know she's watching this right now. Mother, we don't speak anymore. Sarah is not in my life. I don't know her. Okay, she's gone. Get over it. We're not getting back together.
Yeah. The college boyfriend. So I definitely went over his parents. So I got along great with his mom, and I got his dad lightly chit-chatting. His dad was kind of quiet, but he said a few things, and then like afterwards, like the parents had kind of gone upstairs. I think we were just hanging out in his living room. He's like, "My dad like never talks at dinner or like ever. You got him talking." I was like, "I know."
It's like, don't worry about it.
This is Irish charm, baby. It cannot be resisted.
A badge of honor, though, right? It's like a little badge of honor. It's like, I've gotten that too. Like, girlfriends told me, like, "Oh, my dad doesn't really like any of my boyfriends," or like, "My dad doesn't really talk to any of my boyfriends," stuff like that. And like, I come in the house, he's like shaking my hand, asking me what's up, like what I've been up to, like we become friends, and I'm like, I guess some people just don't got it like I do. I don't know. I guess I'm just super charming. What are you gonna do?
Well, I even met the one guy I've talked about several times now. I met his parents at like a Friendsgiving thing because like they live in California now or something like that. And so I like, even though we weren't dating, I met his parents, fucking crushed it with them too. I chatted with like them so long that he left like the conversation, and I was just like fucking winning him over.
Good parent. He was giving that good
parent.
I
was like giving the best parent. In fact, we do something was wrong. My friend's stepmom is not the nicest lady. I'm just gonna say it. And I didn't win her over, and I was like, oh no. I was like, I fucking crush it with every parent I've ever met. This lady doesn't like me. Something's not right. Even my dad was like, shit, you are great with parents. What do you mean that lady didn't like you? Because like I visited like there was like a friend and family trip like up north in Michigan, and I came and I was like, hi, how you doing? They're all polite and friendly, and she was just like just really like cold with me, and I was like, no, I'm like, this works on fucking everybody. What the fuck is happening? What the fuck is happening? and then like as I talked with my friend more, I was like, oh, your stepmom's a bitch, and she won't make me saying that. No, right. Stepmom's not gonna hear this, so it's fine. But yeah, I've crushed it with old people, parents. I'm charming as fuck because I don't talk like this when I'm talking to them.
Oh no, no, of course not, no. And you can't be too polite or too well mannered because then you seem like you're hiding some shit. Like, it's gotta be like that perfect balance. It's blend. It's gotta be like a little bit of who you are, but like a little bit of what they like.
Yeah, and older parents love me because I get older references and I like older movies and TV and stuff, and so they're like, "Oh, you're so smart."
Same. Yeah, because like I said, my favorite decade of music is the '70s. So like that's what they grew up on. So when I go talk to parents that are like, like people our age,
right. Every rock dad is like, Chris is a good kid. He's a good kid. He knows about Zeppelin. He's got
a good head on his shoulder. He knows about Springsteen. We're good.
Kid, he's well-versed guy. He's a good guy.
Yeah. He knows what's up. All right.
So I would in this fictional scenario, I would also crush it with Justin Theroux's parents. But I also would refuse to talk to them about his premature ejaculation problem, which the mom tries to do. And I'm so glad Carrie's like, I don't want to talk to you about this.
Right. Yeah.
It's too.
Again, there has to be boundaries set.
Yeah, this family is too close and weird that way. Like, it's weird.
Yeah. Boundaries got to be set. You can't just. Yeah. I mean, that's because I was going to talk about that too. Like, there is a such thing as being like too close.
Yeah.
Like people, I'm sorry, people who like tell like that could talk about to their parents about like everything. That freaks me out, man. Like there's some things that you talk to your friends about, and there's some things you talk to like your siblings about, and then there's other things that you talk to your parents about. And like, maybe that's a reflection of like how I grew up, but like I don't know, I can't like. Even though my parents have me, like, especially now that I'm an adult, you know what I'm saying? Like, we kind of have like this open policy where we talk about more things. But like, even still, there's still a limit to like what I'm going to divulge to them or what I'm going to like sit down and talk with them about. Mostly because like they come up from a different generation. Like, as open as a parent can be, they're 20, 30 years older than you. That's a lot of time and a lot of different era and where they grew up and shit like that. So it's like, they may not understand. So if you have a modern problem, it may not be able to be fixed by somebody who's a little bit older. So there has to be like a balance.
Yeah, it's different. I'm much closer with my mom in that sense, and I will tell her a lot of things.
Yeah.
For the most part, I think I did like eventually tell her like they like hooked up with the guy and stuff like that, but not like graphic detail or like, hey, here's how his penis worked, like nothing like that. And my poor dad, never on your life. I mentioned something about I maybe like a period thing. I mentioned birth control, and he's very pro birth control. He's not like how dare you, but I said something like, oh, I got it renewed or without really thinking, and he was like, oh, okay, you're on birth control. I was like, yeah, like it's mostly to regulate, the period stuff, but obviously it's a safety thing. He's like, yeah, cool, well, okay. And sort of the same thing, because I've mentioned like updating him like on the medical stuff. I got the port out for cancer or chemotherapy, and I'm doing well. And I was like, and Sam, like I could start like looking into freezing eggs. He was like, cool. Anyway, even that was like freaking him out.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
So I mean, it's different, I think, with dads and daughters in that sense, in a big way.
Right. Yeah.
Like, no, my baby.
And it's just one of those things where it's like I said, there has to be some boundaries.
Yes.
Period, between parents and children. Like, yes, let them talk to you about everything, but like also don't.
Yeah.
Like have a limit somewhere. It's weird. But to go back to what I said earlier about Carrie being a different kind of person without Big, I mostly feel that way because of how she handled the situation. Like, dude, premature ejaculator, like super premature. Clothes aren't even off yet, and he's like going crazy.
It was like that Lonely Island song, "Jizz in My Pants," where I could stick freezing and jizz in my pants.
Yeah, she was like reading a book, and he's like, "Oh god, oh god," like he's super sensitive. Like she didn't even touch it. She touched like the top of the happy trail, and he was like, like, dude, take it easy. Go do a tantric course or something, bro.
Yeah.
But again, she's a different person, right? Because like I feel like if this was like right after Big, or like, you know, while they were still kind of figuring out when, you know, they weren't exclusive or whatever, like she totally would have freaked out. But she
would have taken this so personally if this had been Big.
She was actually very like mature about it. She even did like she pulled a Samantha. She was even like, hey, let's slow down, and then when you get too excited, we'll bring it back down. And like, he was offended by that. It's like, what are you doing? How are you upset by this? This is a good woman. Like a good woman move. Like, you should be happy about this, because most women would be like, oh, you come like that quickly.
And in fact, Samantha's like, dump his ass right now, right here, right now.
Exactly. She was
forget the cool family. He blows his wad way too early in the game. Right. Get out now.
Yeah.
And yeah, the fact that she's like wanting to like, let's make it enjoyable for you and like take time, and that way you won't, you know, like go off half cocked.
Yeah, I don't think you can even get half cocked. I feel like it's not even cocked. It's just gone, you know.
Look at that thing wrong and it'll just go off.
Oh man, no, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's why I was like, I was giving her credit. Like, honestly, too, in these last few episodes, man, like it's kind of becoming more clear of like how toxic her and Big's relationship is, because like I'm actually starting to like her again, even though I said I'd never fuck with her again after the episode where she was like, you know what she said.
Yeah.
But so I still don't fuck with her, but like I'm starting to like, I can embrace the idea of trying to get to a place where I fuck with her again, just because like she's a different person without Big. She's not crazy. She's not, you know what I'm saying? And it just lets me know that like, yeah, this guy's a douche. Like, he's just not a good dude. Like, clearly he had her all fucked. I'm not saying that she ain't crazy. She crazy. She crazy. But like, he brought that craziness out of her by being him. You know what I'm saying? So
he did not need to enhance it the way he did.
Yeah. He's not here to enhance it. So like, she can at least, it's manageable crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So.
And then they have this sweet little ending where she breaks up with his family, and they talk about the importance of family, and she mentions sometimes it's, you know, the one you're born in, and sometimes it's your found family, which that's going to become a thing too with the four women as the show goes on. We're finally pivoting more into that like friendship is family and family are friends kind of thing. Because I know there was like the spin-off series, the Carrie Diaries. We never meet Carrie's parents. So we don't know much about them. They, I think, get into a little bit with her mention of her dad in a future episode. Not a huge plot point, but it's there. I don't think we ever really meet Charlotte's parents. I know we never meet Samantha's parents. And I do find it weird. I mean, it's convenient for shows like this because you do kind of like think of real life, like, oh, well, yeah, would their parents be involved? And there's some mention of Miranda's parents. And actually, it's a plot point for, I think, my favorite episode of the series, but we're still a couple seasons away from that, so I won't
I'm not sure if Miranda has parents. I feel like she was like created in a lab.
Bond.
I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, but it is always weird on like sitcoms and stuff like that where you don't always meet the characters' parents, even though there's no mention of them not being around for any reason, whether they're dead or abandoned or whatever, or and they're all old enough to like still have parents, so it's always just kind of awkward, but it's interesting.
Yeah,
that's really a whole other.
That's actually so. Actually, the parents I want to meet the most is Samantha's, Charlotte's, and Carrie's. That's who I want to meet the most.
I do want to meet Samantha's parents. I really wonder.
Yeah, what, yeah, she's just, you know, because of her person. How that person. I'm wondering if it's like something that she developed through like her experiences, or if like it was, you know, her parents or like open like this, you know, this guy's family, you know what I'm saying, with like not making her feel bad about her sexuality and things of that nature and stuff like that. So.
Well, they clearly didn't mind that she was apparently hooking up with somebody as a 13-year-old to get access to a pool.
Yeah.
So I'm concerned though, because 13 is young.
Very young, yeah. Yeah, it's very young.
And should she for sure say like, I had sex with a guy for a pool, and they're like, oh haha, when you were adult? And she was like, his mom made me Kool-Aid, and they're like, wait, what? And she's like, yeah, I was 13 and I got a great tan that summer. And then we just never discussed that again.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot to uncover in that throwaway line. It's like
a lot to unpack there.
That's a whole episode itself to unpack.
That's a series.
Yeah. If we're gonna be real about it, it deserves at least an episode or maybe even a series. Yeah,
give Samantha her own origin series of how this came to be.
They definitely just yada a 13-year-old girl having sex with to get into a pool. Like,
I wish they had been like, I made out with a guy to go to a pool. Would have been less alarming, because then it would have been like, aha, when you were a 13-year-old and kissing, and that's normal, maybe a little advanced, but normal. But sex for a pool at 13, how old was the boy? Please let him also have been 13, I guess. I don't see how that's any better. Either way, this is all awful.
Well, okay, at the very least, if he was like, I'd say the maximum age is like
15 feels about right.
15 or 16, like, that should be the max. If he was anything older than that, then no.
But even so, that's pretty problematic when you break it down.
It's still problematic, but between 16 and 13, like, they're both still kids. So like,
I'm like less terrified.
I'm talking about like mental mind things. So like, you don't make the best choices between those ages. Nobody does. You know what I mean? I don't know too many people that got like they shit together at 13. Like,
excuse me, I was amazing to parents at 13. Yes, I had my shit together.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
I'm just kidding.
I'm sure you did. Like, you knew if you like ice cream with cake, that's about what you did at 13. You know what I mean? So like I said, hopefully the guy wasn't older than like 16.
All we can hope for, because like I said, that's only slightly less.
Then that's a lot we got to unpack. That's like, maybe when maybe they'll talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah. But yeah, Carrie's parents are curious too, because it's sort of, they imply that Charlotte and Miranda talk to their parents or interact with their parents in some way, or their family in general, because they both have siblings. I don't think Carrie or Samantha do at all. I don't think either of them. I think they're only children, which makes sense for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
But it's kind of wild to think, like, in some ways, I think they make it seem this way in some episodes where they address it, that maybe Carrie kind of just ran off to New York and doesn't ever talk to her parents. I don't know.
I can see that with her.
Yeah.
I feel like her parents probably like told her some shit she didn't want to hear, but she probably needed to hear. And she was like, no, I'm going to New York. Fuck that.
And it's not a huge spoiler, but it's implied her dad wasn't around. Like, dad kind of up and left her and her mom at whatever, like a very young age.
Okay.
So, and then Samantha is a total mystery. I don't know. Maybe she just springed fully formed from sex gods for all we know. I have no idea.
It's possible. Cool. Well.
So yeah.
We did that.
That was it. But a lot of those questions are questions for later episodes.
I'm ready. Like I said, the person's parents I want to meet the most is definitely Samantha's.
Yeah, I have so many questions.
Like, yeah.
And a warrant.
Yeah. Also, maybe Charlotte's parents, because like I feel like Charlotte's one of those people that, like, even though she maybe tried to avoid it, that she just became. I don't even know if she tried to avoid it. I feel like she's the kind of person that like saw her mom and was like, "That's who I need to be."
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Like, she wants to be that, the married and the kids and the whole nine. Yeah. I always and wanting to do. I always found that kind of baffling, because I don't love either of my parents or whatever. But they were always very like, do your own thing. Do not follow this path. It's the world is wide open to you. Charlotte's is definitely like, there's a prescribed thing that you should be doing.
She's like fucking Mandalorian. This is the way.
This is the way. Yeah.
That's all that matters to her. This is the way. Whatever her mom taught her, she's like, all right, this is what I'm supposed to do. So
and all their actual problems or quirks are buried under the like, we have to maintain the facade,
right,
of the waspy rich thing. But what do you want to bet her parents are like absolute freaks behind closed doors?
Oh, probably the worst.
And like she subconsciously knows that, and that's why she keeps picking weirdos.
That makes sense to me.
Like her Mr. and Mrs. York, just like 50 Shades of Grey and it up in there.
Okay.
And that's the end of the episode.
Tell the people where they can find us.
They can find us most easily on Instagram if you go to Show Me What Podcast.
Yep.
And that'll take you to our Facebook, our Twitter, our actually podcast platform, YouTube, and whatnot. And you can find me alone and all my weirdness at Elizabeth Movies. Introduce me to your parents. It's nothing like this, but just as charming. Oh, so good with parents. Third.
You can find me at Mack Diddy Combs. It's MackDiddyCombs on Instagram, Twitter, and Venmo and Cash App, whatever, you know what I mean? Wherever you want to look for me, you do that. Also, be sure to go to Arlo Australia, ARLO_Australia on Instagram, and you can buy some candles or some reed diffusers or some scented oils. And make sure you use our promo code ShowMeMiss, and that'll get you 10% off of all your purchases. So yes. ArloAustralia.com. The candles are amazing. They smell delicious.
I do really love the lemon eucalyptus one I have.
They really are.
So fresh. So good.
And we're not saying this because they sponsor us. We're saying this because they truly are great candles.
Yeah.
They burn slow. They burn a long time. And they smell fucking awesome. Like literally you fucking light this shit for like a half hour and your whole house is ready to go and smell.
And even if you just like huffing candles.
Yeah, man.
They're good.
Get in there. In that wax, bro. That sounded. All right. See ya.
Bye.